Thank you very much, Sharks. I do want to talk about some of the masteries, but I do not want to talk about Thunderlords because everybody has felt the slap of Raiden in the face. Instead, I'm going to focus on 4 different ones, starting with Fervor of Battle, Grasp of the Undying, Windspeaker's Blessing, and Storm Raider's Surge. Now, I'm going to answer a few key questions. What is the Keystone Mastery? What value does it give you as a player? And who should you be using it on? Let's start with Fervor of Battle. It's one of the relatively easier ones to understand. This is an additional physical damage that gets applied on hit for champions that do a lot of hitting. This is a damage that will scale up to a maximum of 112 additional bonus physical damage at maximum stacks at level 18. Now put yourself in a position where you're Olaf or Lucian or Callista and you're continually hitting people, continually dealing damage. You get an additional 112 damage per hit on every auto attack that's going to be landing. Now this is not something that does scale with the likes of Infinity Edge or Critical Hit, but it's just bonus damage that is very easy to add on. I'm going to move on to the next one, Grasp of the Undying. This is now a keystone that's a little more difficult to quantify because what does it do for you? First of all, it gives you sustain in lane. Now, the way that it works, while you're in combat with another champion for 4 seconds, your next attack against them will deal 3% of your maximum health as damage, and you will heal for that amount as well. Sounds a bit overwhelming, doesn't it? But let's put things into perspective. You're a Gangplank or you're a Fiora, you're in lane. You want to farm up to 1 or 2 items to become that beast that we know you can be. So how do you stay healthy? How do you stay sustained? You continually trade, you continually poke, you get in your opponent's face. To put a number to it, if you have 1,000 hit points and you get 5 procs, that will give you a potion's worth of gold and health back. That's every 5 procs. Right, but what about if you don't want to heal yourself, you want to heal everybody else? You're a supportive player, you like to help the team out. Well, Windspeaker's Blessing is the Keystone Mastery for you. Because what this does, first of all, it's going to buff both your healing and your shields. And what it will also do in addition to that is give armor and magic resistance to your allied champions. The more champions around, the more armor and MR you're going to share. The higher the level of your teammates, the more you're going to share. Because the way it defaults is not to your lowly supports level, but to the highest level applicable. Bonus stats for everybody. It's actually quite scary when you think that if you have 4 allies around, one of them's level 18, you're giving 2,500 gold worth of armor and magic resistance to the rest of your team. So fantastic value for everybody around. If you're an Alistair, if you're a Janna, if you're a Karma, pick that up in solo queue. The last one I want to mention is going to be Storm Raider's Surge. It's a little bit more complex, and the way it works is if you deal 30% of your target's max health in damage, you will then receive 40% movement speed, and you will also gain 75% slow resist. Now, movement speed is quite a difficult concept to grasp because the more you have, the less you receive. So here's a graph of just showing you the diminishing return. It's not really what I want to focus on. What I want to focus on is just how much value you get. If you have a base move speed of 350 and you get a proc from Storm Raiders, you will actually gain an additional 1,500 gold worth of movement speed, and on top of that, the slow resistance. So put yourself in Diana's shoes, put yourself in Echo's shoes. You dive into a team fight, you use your skill rotation, you get the movement speed and the slow resist, which allows you to dodge more skill shots, to reposition, and to get to safety, to wait for another rotation of spells. One of the best examples of this was GBM over in the North American LCS. He actually used it on Zillion. He zoomed up to the fight with an E, popped 2 bombs down, got Storm Raiders, and then ran the hell away to wait for his cooldowns. Very clever use of a Keystone Mastery to give more power and utility that you can't really see. So those are the 4 that we're starting to see a little bit more on the LCS stage. I hope you guys at home don't fall into the Thunderlord's honey trap pot as often as I did, and consider picking these up for the champion you play, the team composition you're trying to put together, and maybe you can pick up a little bit more LP. So with that, I'm going to head back over to the analyst desk to break down game 1 of the day.